One of the clearest examples demonstrating the usefulness of searching for supersets can be found in what the jazz community calls chord scale theory. To determine which scale can be used over a dominant seventh chord, we need only input the pitches of the tonic and the guide tones, specifically the root, third, and seventh. Let's take C7 as an example and input the notes C, E, and B flat. In integer notation, these correspond to 0, 4, and 10, or T. Interestingly, this tetrachord is known in forte set theory as 3/8A and is nicknamed 7 in our system. Next, we perform a superset calculation to identify heptachords, 7-note sets, given that traditional Western scales are predominantly 7-note scales. The initial result yields 126 heptachords, meaning that the specific notes C, E, and B flat are found in these and only these 126 7-note sets. No more, no less. However, upon reviewing the results, starting with 7th 1, it becomes clear that many of these sets are hyperchromatic and not particularly useful as scales in the context of straight jazz or common practice jazz. At this point, we can apply the concept of pressing scales, or the consecutive semitone constraint, CSC, which eliminates sets containing consecutive semitones. Applying this filter reduces the results to 12 heptachords. Let's examine them from the bottom up. 12th result, 7 to 35 diatonic heptachord. When we read the staff or listen to it, we can recognize this as the regular C mixolydian mode. For those unfamiliar with this concept, we can always navigate to the info page by clicking on the forte number. There we learn that this specific rotation of 7 to 35 is commonly referred to as mixolydian. The 11th, 10th, and 9th results all correspond to the 734 melodic minor heptachord, indicating that there are 3 distinct instances of traditional melodic minor scales that include the notes C, E, and B flat. By clicking on each result, we can explore these variations and their shared or alternate names. Upon reviewing each forte name, we find the following shared names. 11th result, known as mixolydian flat 6. 10th result. This is a clear example of the naming confusion in music theory and highlights why forte's numbering system is invaluable. The same scale is known by multiple names, including Lydian dominant, Lydian flat 7, mixolydian sharp 4, overtone scale, and the 4th mode of melodic minor scales. 9th result, also known by numerous names, such as superlocrian, altered, diminished whole tone scale, and even Herb Pomeroy's scale. The 8th and 7th results both correspond to the 732B harmonic major heptachord. As the harmonic major scale is a relatively recent addition to jazz common practice, shared names are less established. Nevertheless, the system provides practical names for each set. 8th result can be referred to as mixolydian flat 2. The 7th result is sometimes referred to as Phrygian flat 4. The 6th result corresponds to a 7 to 32A harmonic minor heptachord, which is a rotation of the traditional harmonic minor scale. By selecting this result, we find it represents the 5th mode, often called Phrygian dominant. Results 5 through 1 all refer to an octatonic superset, specifically the one known as diminished half-step whole step. Let's set this topic aside for now. However, it's worth noting, as detailed in a specific video, that the 731A and 731B are subsets of the octatonic set 828. Additionally, the two scales, diminished half-step whole step and diminished whole step half-step, are rotations of each other. Put another way, the octatonic set 828 has only 2 unique rotations or modes. Finally, using the superset calculation, we now know that for a basic C7 chord, all the traditional 7-note scales that can be used to create melodies fitting the harmony are C mixolydian mode, C mixolydian flat 6, C Lydian dominant, C altered, C mixolydian flat 2, C Phrygian flat 4, C Phrygian dominant, C diminished half-step whole step. This covers approximately 95% of what any chord scale theory explains and can be achieved with just a few clicks. Moreover, we can also make use of the lock filter. For example, if we want to filter scales that include, in addition to the 3rd and 7th, a sharp 4 or sharp 11, or even a flat 5, why not, we simply select Note 6 in the filter. In this case, the result narrows down to just 3 scales: C Lydian dominant, C altered, C diminished half-step whole step. Isn't that useful? Now imagine how extraordinarily helpful this becomes when working with non-traditional sets. Simply unimaginable.